Me and Lebene in the interview, we a certified crew. Trying to cross eyes, some I wouldn't do. I'm like you, but maybe times two.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Truth is, if you don't see me around no more, I've been linking with CEOs. Told you my time is rest assured until I see me.
Hi, beautiful souls. It's your girl Lebene, and this is my newest show called Chop It Up, a show where we dive into the experiences of people who inspire me. We dive through culture, their journeys, and how they came to where they are today. So today I have a very special guest with me. His name is Selassie Drah. He's a full-time musician here in Edmonton, Alberta, originally from Ghana. So welcome to the show, Selassie. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. Thank you.
I'm going to play a game called Chop Choices with you.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to it's kind of like a this or that. I'm going to give you a couple options and you're going to let me know which one you would choose and why and how it relates to you, and I'll also answer. The first one is early riser or night owl?
Early riser.
And why?
Because I think it's good for me. I'm not an early riser, but I still pick that because I think that's what helps me, even though I hate to admit it.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like at night I just work better.
Yes.
But I know that if I was to like do things earlier, like your day becomes shorter because by the time the day ends, you're not like, oh, I have to do this. You've already done it. So I want to. So we both aspire to be early risers.
Yes, for sure.
But like the night just gets the creative juices flowing.
For sure. No, that's like exactly
That's
me.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So in creative spaces, whether it's like the studio or maybe you're writing, would you rather collaborate or you prefer doing it solo?
Oh, that's a tough one. Collaborate, but it has to be the right people, the right moment. Yeah, for sure. Collaborate.
I feel like for me, I have to do solo first.
Yeah.
Because I have to like sit down and think before I launch and like try to share like any
Gotcha.
ideas that I have. So the next one is, because we're both Ghanaian, jollof rice or wache? This has been a debate online.
Are you serious?
Well, like through like for Ghanaians.
Interesting. I missed that. That's tough. Wache.
Same. And like,
Wache.
I don't know if you heard that song with Usher. It's like a long time song. In one part, it sounds like he's saying, wache. And people like, jollof is good, but like, there's just something about wache just hits different.
For sure.
That's why I'm team wache, but jollof is good. Like, I'll never deny it.
Yes.
I think it's also sometimes because like, maybe it's made a lot and we're used to eating it a lot. So
Yes.
like, we don't really enjoy it as much as we feel like we should.
Yes.
So I think that's why I'm team wache.
Yeah.
Okay, next is music festival or an intimate gig. Which one would you prefer? Whether it's like performing or attending.
Festival.
Why?
Just that crowd interaction, having like multitudes of people engaging with the music, that in some ways can be intimate. I feel like you could turn a big venue into an intimate show, but you can't do that with an intimate show necessarily.
Okay.
Off the top, that's what comes to mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I'm like a mixture of both because I feel like music festivals have a certain energy depending on, I think it also depends on the genre.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I'm listening to reggae, there can be intimate moments, but like when I went to Reggae Sumfest, I liked that it was a festival. When I went to Afrofuture now, I like that it was a festival. But I feel like something like jazz or like soul or neo soul or even R&B, I would prefer that in an intimate space.
Intimate, yeah.
How about you? Do you feel like it also depends on like the type of music?
It does depend on the type of music. Also, I really appreciate intimate shows more. Like, I'm still like energetic and upbeat, but I found a part of me that's also very calm and like chill. Like over the years, I've become very chill. So I like to be in spaces that are chill. So I'm really appreciating like intimate settings. But if I had to choose one over the other, I would only pick festivals because I feel like I could turn a festival intimate as a performer.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I feel like I know how to do that.
Okay, and
Yeah.
how would you do that? Let's just dig deep. How
I'm
would
very
you do
particular about my song choices. I'm very, regardless of the venue that I'm performing in, I always make sure that some way, somehow I'm connecting with my audience.
Okay.
And so because that's my MO, like regardless of who I am, I feel like I can make a festival intimate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so like for the future, would you ever want to either participate in a festival or create your own?
I would have to create my own in collaboration with other people. Yeah, I would need some people with me. I feel like I have my ideas, but when it comes to creating an experience, I always feel like, having more than one person is always a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you call this festival? Like, it doesn't have to be the tentative name, but like off the top of your head, like what are people like hearing? Like when they think of Selassie and you're like, this is a festival I'm putting on, what's that name?
What is that name? What's a synonym? I'm thinking of a synonym for the word experience, because that's all it's going to be.
I should know this because I'm studying English right now, but
oh, good. We both don't know. It's okay.
I can't think off the top of my head. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can come back to that.
Yeah.
So next, we're going to go into Proverbs because I feel like West Africans and Africans, we our ancestors and our forefathers and our parents love to speak in Proverbs.
Yes.
And usually involve some sort of animal. Why? I guess because we have a lot of animals back home. So obviously, I want to pick an Ewa proverb. The thing is, I'm not going to say an Ewa because, we're still learning the language.
Yes.
Small. But this is what it is in English. And I'm sorry for all the Ewa people out there. If it's the wrong version, please forgive me. This is what Google said. So the proverb is, the crab gave birth to a bird, but it still walks sideways. Do you know it?
That sounds so familiar.
Okay.
Yes.
So what does it mean to you and how does it like kind of connect to your own life?
Your heart might be into something, but you don't want to be absorbed by it. You need to learn to take another path and let go of what your heart might be into. Because if you think about, someone giving birth, you have an attachment to your child, right? But also there's a lot of mothers that don't take breaks enough or defined by themselves by like motherhood, right? And the need for, putting yourself first sometimes, even though like that's your child. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Now, of course, this might not be what it means, but that's the first thing that comes to mind when I hear that.
Okay, so from what I got from the meaning and what Google is telling me, it says like, this proverb is often used to illustrate a situation when someone tries to achieve something beyond their capabilities.
Yes.
It implies that even if sometimes something seems extraordinary, it's essential to stay true to oneself and acknowledge one's limitations. I guess when they're talking about, but it still walks sideways.
Yeah.
So it's like something that you have that's a part of you that like maybe you try to diminish, but it's still there.
Yeah.
It's still there.
That makes sense. I like that. Yeah, I like that one.
We try. Shout out to Google. We try small. Okay, so you told me a few of your favorite artists, and I tried to keep it light. So we're going to play like a little game, guess the lyric.
This one's going to be so tough because I have a bad memory.
No, but I feel like these are very common like things that anybody should know.
You don't understand. Like when I say I have a bad memory,
okay.
I listen to a lot of music but cannot remember.
Okay, so
let's do this.
Okay, so let's go to Kendrick.
I'm ready for it.
Okay, so in this song, complete the following. See, this is very simple. Sit down, be humble. What's the after that?
Be humble. Sit down. Yeah, be humble and then sit down, because he repeats that phrase like a couple of times.
Okay, I think I gave it away because I said we tried. Let's try this one. Okay, so Jay-Z and Alicia. So I guess you know the song.
Okay.
Concrete jungles where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do.
In New York.
Now you're in New York.
Now you're in New York.
New York is the same thing. See, it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be.
It is not bad, yes.
It's not as bad. Okay. Next one is Little Sims. This song, I'm the coldest.
Wow. That is tough. I'm the coldest. Do I get a song title?
Wings.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not even gonna pretend that I know. I'm not gonna pretend.
Okay. So I'm the coldest, young and oldest.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I'm not even gonna pretend.
What do you think you're on Earth for? Like, what do you feel like is your purpose? Oof. Do you feel like you're figuring it out still, or it's something that you figured out?
I don't know if this is vague, but I think my purpose is to be present and to experience things. It's funny, I was thinking about it recently and I realized who I am. I think I appreciate like good experiences. And it could be anything, but like when I wake up in the morning, I have to be very intentional about the way that I do things, and I have to enjoy those experiences, whether it's driving, eating, drinking water, like literally from the most like mundane everyday things to the big things. I just have to enjoy myself. And I think for me, that's like my purpose. I need to like, when that coffin closes, I need to feel like I had a good time. That was lit. That was lit. I think that's my purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I'm still figuring this out. I feel like I didn't really think too deep into this question until like probably this past year.
Yeah.
So I met a girl in LA, diverging from that, I think. And she asked me what my name was, and I told her. And then the things that she said to me, I was like, this girl doesn't know she's preaching to me. So I told her, hi, like, my name is Lebene. She's like, what does it mean? I said, it means take great care of her. This girl said, I hope the person in your life or the people in your life or who is to come into your life is able to live that.
Wow.
I'll never forget. Shout out to her.
Sent by an angel.
Right? So I was like, okay, I think it also means like to take care of myself. Like,
Yeah.
why would I put myself in spaces or situations where I'm not taking care of myself?
Yeah.
I think my purpose is to take care of myself, take care of others, but also to, like, I really have a deep passion for young women, young girls, especially in the African continent. So I feel like my purpose is to create better futures for them.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to figure out ways, because I really want to get into like the philanthropy field. Do you feel like you've been most inspired by? It can be something from like pop culture. It can be from maybe your family, relationships, friends. Like, what do you feel like, okay, this, I was so inspired by this?
I think for me, can I list two?
Yeah.
Okay. I think for me, it's two artists. And the first one is Kendrick Lamar. And it was when he released Good Kid, Mad City. And one thing artists do is that when they go big, they're like, oh, I made it. I'm in the spotlight. Okay, more mainstream music. Let's just milk this thing. And I'll never forget him doing To Pimp a Butterfly and then downsizing the venues. Like, he only had like a couple of shows. They were super intimate. And the subject matter was just not for the masses to consume. And if you were expecting a certain kind of content, you were really disappointed. But that's when he showed me like, oh, you can do this thing with integrity. Like, you really don't have to like sacrifice a lot. And then I think, because I'm a little younger, I guess, I think the second one is just Drake, because I appreciate how he has infiltrated the mainstream. In some ways, I appreciate how he does it in some ways. And I think that's been nice to look at. Yeah. I wonder if that answers your question.
No, it answers it.
There's
because
so
it's
many moments.
Yeah, there's so many moments and things that like end up like making you giving inspiration.
Yeah.
And giving you that creativity. For me, recently, Mr. Easy came out with a project called, I think it's called Evil Genius or Evil something. And like, I feel like I've been like following Mr. Easy from the beginning till now. I'm like a fan. I'm a stan.
I know that.
And I think like, I like that he never stays in one box. He gives us something different. And I think his creativity and different things, like you can never get the same thing from him. He'll do this and then he'll do that, but like maybe it's still connected to music, but he still will like go to Rwanda and work on like certain things, or like go to Benin and throw these like Chop Life parties. Now he's doing like a sound system. Like, I think he shows like there's no limit to like your creativity. Whichever way you want to be creative, like go for it. So that's what like I feel like inspires me. Okay, next question. Who is that one person who you feel like supported you when no one else did? And this is your time to like give them their flowers.
Wow. Wow, what a question. This is so tough. There are many people, so if you're watching this and I don't mention your name, I'm sorry. It's just the question. There's one person I'm going to say, and that's my mom. Only because I remember, I'll never forget when I was like, we went to Best Buy together, and I wanted to get a laptop, and I was in uni at that time. And I was like, this is so expensive. The only money I had was my student loans. And then she asked me, she's like, do you need it? I was like, yeah. She's like, are you going to do this? Is this something that you're excited about? Like, you really want to invest in this thing? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, you should go for it. And that literally changed everything because it's that same laptop that I took with me to like Toronto when I had a show one time. And another time I was in Winnipeg. It's that same laptop. And there was a couple of shows. I don't have that laptop now. I just replaced it like 3 years ago. But I'll never forget going to shows with that laptop and being like, wow, if my mom didn't push me and say, do that. It's something that you love. You should invest in it. There's so many songs that even people hear that would never have happened. So many shows that would never have happened just because of that laptop. So that's the first person and first moment that comes to mind when I think about that.
I'm like, it's because you said one. I'm like, let me say one. But my friends, I love you. Do not come and hurt me. I love you all. And you've all supported me. So please, I beg of you.
It's a tough one.
It's really
tough.
a tough one.
It's tough. You're going to break some hearts.
All right. But I don't think it's about supporting me. But the group of friends I have, my girls, when I was in Ghana for Christmas 2021, December, it was Christmas time, and they invited my mom like for Christmas dinner. And it's not like my mom's alone and she doesn't have my sister or anybody else, but it was just like, they didn't have to.
Yeah.
But like, it was just the fact that they thought of my mom and like, oh, like, let's invite her for Christmas. Like, let's include her. Like, it really warmed my heart. And like, it's something I'll never forget because it shows like my friends care about more than just me as their friend and like, oh, everything is like self or like, oh, Lebene. But like, they care about like those around me. They care about my sister. They care about my family. They care about my dad. Like, it really touched my heart. And it's like one thing I will never forget. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yes. Shout out to them. Don't kill
Shout out
us.
to the good friends. Shout out to the good friends.
Girlfriends. Okay, so now I'm curious about your creative journey. If you could describe your music in 3 words, what would they be and why?
Passionate is the first one. Because I do feel like I approach music with passion, like period. Like I really care about what I do, what I say, how it feels, how it's gonna resonate. Like there's no one on the planet who thinks more about their music than me. Like I put my thought into that. So I'm really passionate about that. The second term to describe my music. Real. I try to be as real as possible. Being real is tough. And people always like to be like, be prideful about it. It's not something that I'm prideful about. It's more like this is necessary just for me. If I want to grow, I have to be honest. I have to be real with myself. And then the third one I'll say is interesting. I think my music is interesting. While I am passionate and I try to be real, I also don't have this tone of like, oh, if you're not in this space, then, you cannot get it. I think I make really fun and interesting and like accessible music. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to dive into the next segment called Culture Corner. So basically we delve into the culture. I did some thinking. So when I first met you, you were in high school.
Yes.
And I think you recently came from Ghana. Or am I wrong?
I don't know how recent, but
Like-
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember they're like, oh, this is Selassie, you just came from Ghana. And you're just like,
Oh, yeah.
like quietly
Oh,
to
gosh.
yourself. I'm like, okay.
I think keep to myself.
I think
a
it was
lot.
you and your brother in like a room or something. And then they're like, oh, this is Selassie, came from Ghana. And then it was like, so did you come from Ghana to Canada, specifically
Yes.
Edmonton, like during high school? Or was it before then?
Yeah, I went to high school. So I graduated out of like junior high in Ghana.
Oh, okay.
And then right after that, before going into high school, I came here and then I went into high school.
Okay. So I want to get into kind of like your memories in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
First, let's start. What was like the initial thought when your parents were like, okay, we're moving to Canada? Like, what was on your mind? What did you think? Were you excited? Had you like seen pictures or videos of Canada? You're like, okay, of course I want to go there. Like, what was your perception? And like, how did you feel when your parents told you that?
So when we were in Ghana, we had a lot of pictures because my parents, like, they had traveled the world a little bit because of work and different stuff. So I really wanted to see a lot of the places that they had visited because they used to tell a lot of stories.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad also went to school in Canada. And so he would always bring stuff back home, whether it's like, it could be something as simple as a pen or like some flavor of like granola, just all these little things that you get excited about as a kid. And yeah, that made me curious about wanting to be here for sure. So yeah, I was pretty excited. I was pretty excited when we left.
So how was that transition like? How do you feel like the move impacted you coming from Ghana to here? And have you ever like felt torn between both worlds of like Canada and Ghana?
I wish when I was in Ghana, I had traveled the world some more. Not going to live there, but spend a couple of weeks here, spend a couple of weeks there, come back to Ghana.
Yeah.
Just so you don't have perceptions about the world, but you've actually had to experience it. And I would say like it's part of being young. You have perceptions about the world as opposed to like experiences of the world. In terms of feeling torn, I do. But I think recently I kind of accepted. I'm like, oh yeah, this is my new home. There's a little bit of a denial. I don't know about you, but like, do you feel that? A little bit of a denial, like, Ghana is my home. I don't know if I'm off here. Or
I don't feel like I have a home right now.
yeah, okay.
Like, as long as I was in Ghana, I say it's home, but do I feel it's home?
It's
I think
home.
it's like two different things. I think I'm still finding a home. I feel like I think there's elements of both places that I would consider both home. But I'm still kind of navigating what home is, what that feels like, what that is.
So you're neither here or there. For
Yeah.
you, it's both.
But like, there's always a longing for wanting to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like when I'm there, do I want to be here? I think like when I miss moments with my friends and family, and then like, cause I travel so much, it's like, oh, I wish I was there for this person's birthday or like to celebrate this, or I don't know what's going on. They have to catch me up. So it's like, I think it's like fear of missing out on like, cause I built that community and family here as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's where for me, I feel that I miss being here. Yes. Okay. So maintaining your Africanness or your essence, since you said you've kind of come to terms with how you feel about being like kind of in these two worlds, what would you say what are some things about yourself that you've noticed that are still very Ghanaian or African that are very authentic to you?
Wow. Interesting. What an interesting question. Ghana is like my reference for everything.
Okay.
Like if usually the people closest to me, they get to hear me say certain things, but like it's my reference for everything, like food. Like I'm like, so much processed food here, like just too much. When I was in Ghana, I used to eat yams. I wasn't ripping bags open and like eating food. Like it's my reference for that. It's my reference for community. Like I feel like Ghana community is unspoken. Like it was literally part of my life. And I feel like in Canada, people strive to like engineer that, like, because it's not really a strong part of the culture as it is in other places. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but like you go to certain cultures and you're like, oh, this is really how they live. Like they're very communal. Like, so there's that. I'm like that. I think like I'm overly like respectful. Okay. I was literally just saying that like yesterday to someone. Like Ghanaians, like we're raised to be like respectful,
saying please after
humble,
everything.
saying please, like
please yes,
please yes, please no, please no. Like it's just too much, and like everyone's name has to have a title, like uncle, brother. You can't use first name. Like there's still parts of me that are like that. Yeah.
I would say for me, I think my mom's gonna hear this and be like, I told you. I feel like I'm turning into my mother. And I was like, oh, no. But like, I think it's like my reactions to things. So like, let's say like I fall down. I'm like, hey, like that's like my first thing. Like sometimes I feel like I'm not listening and speaking in English. Or like, let's say like something my mom would say to me when I was younger, if maybe I did something, I'll be like, I'll like speak it out. Like, let's say like someone falls or like if it's like, you do something, you're like, it's minister in there. Like, it's like all these little like things that she would say. And I'd be like, am I turning into her? Yeah. So I feel like those things, other than like cooking the food, I feel like definitely reactions to things is very like ingrained in the culture. Yeah.
So you feel like that with the food thing? Like you do feel like you lean more towards like Ghanaian?
Oh, I have to eat. Well, I like different cultural food, but I have to eat Ghanaian food.
Yeah.
Or it has to be West African adjacent. Like consistent on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't have to be Ghanaian, but it just doesn't have to be processed. Okay. I don't know about like other people who are from Ghana, but when I lived there, like I wasn't eating as much processed foods.
Yeah, because everything grows. It grows from the ground.
Yeah.
But I think it's changed a bit. I wouldn't say that it's more processed now. I think there's a lot more stores that are bringing in things from other countries. So people are gaining access to processed food. Like cheese is not a part of our diet other than like wagashi, which is like a cheese from the north. So like is like our cheese. Yeah. But like obviously people want like pasta or whatever. And they have that right to, but like they're processing it from who knows where, bringing it, you know, like all those things that like we have here, they have there. So I feel like now it's kind of changed a little bit because it's like you can go to the grocery store and get what you need, and diets have changed like a mere bit. So that's what I would say. Okay, so when is like the earliest moment you remember kind of listening to music and just feeling drawn and connected to it?
The earliest is when I lived in Ghana and my dad would go to work and I'll just take his CDs and like put it in a Walkman and like listen to that. Those would be my earliest memories, like as early as like age 6. Yeah, like super young.
And what was your dad listening to? Like what were you hearing when you...
My dad listened to everything. Okay. Like my dad, one time I messaged my dad when Stonebwoy's album came out, something Junction, I forget the title.
Angloga Junction.
Angloga Junction. Yeah. When that came out, I remember saying that to my dad. I was like, "You're really gonna enjoy this. I think you'll like it." He's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard it." And I'm like, "What? You're really on the internet like that? Like you've already heard this?" But no, that's my dad. Like he just like listens to everything. But the CDs that I was taking were, I remember it was Nas, it was 50 Cent, and then he had some reggae like Gregory Isaac. Those are like the early music that I was listening to.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, music-wise, it's so funny because like the church I grew up in, not that we weren't allowed, but there was kind of restrictions to like music. So I wouldn't say I heard more like gospel growing up, but my mom was very much into like James Brown, anything like Motown, Kool and the Gang, that kind of like era. And then she also introduced me to a lot of like fela or people who were like in Ghanaian high life or Ghanaian Afrobeat, those like type of rhythms, because I do like the kind of like that vibe. It doesn't even have to be anybody singing, but just like the music of like high life. and Afro beats.
It's rich.
Yes, it's very rich.
For sure.
Yeah.
Osibisa.
Yes. Okay, that one. Yeah, that was one of her faves too.
Yeah, for sure.
That was definitely it. So when was it that you decided, like, you know what, I want to pursue music full time. I want to put like this into full force?
High school.
Okay.
High school. Like at that age, you have a little access. Like I got an iPad mini. And I started recording on the iPad and trying to learn how to mix on that iPad. So like early demos that I used to put out on SoundCloud, they were actually all recorded on my iPad. So it was high school. It was that time.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like it took too long though, because I feel like I grew up with the mentality of like, you can't be a musician, right? Like you're from Ghana. Like, well, you better be something else other than, like an entertainer. Was it like that for you growing up? Was that an option in the Mawutor household?
No. It wasn't that it wasn't an option. It was just like it was just like, oh, people do it for fun.
Yes.
But not like, oh, you're getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
I think like over time, it took time for my parents to like be like, you know what, she's good at this thing. I think it was just like my mom was like, just go and do something at school. Like, I don't care what it is, just go. Because I was just confused as to what to study and what to do, and I tried different options.
Yeah.
So she's like, just go do something at this point.
That's nice. I mean, that's not
it took a long time for us to get there. But how do your parents take like you saying, you know what, like I want to do this full time?
You know what's funny? I don't even think I've communicated that overtly. They just watch from the sidelines.
Okay.
But I do feel a sense of like stigma against just being an artist. It's just like, I doubt you're going to be, doing something if you just stick to this. So I think that it's unspoken, but my guess is that they're glad that while I was doing music, I was always in school pursuing something else. I think they appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that you work with your brother, Summer Breaking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to make sure the right name is correct. And you recently have a single Greasy with him.
Yeah.
What is that like dynamic like working with him, like in the creative process?
It's amazing. Like when we're together, I'm like, wow, I really grew up with this guy. Like, there's so many things that aren't spoken. You say something, he's like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, I'm thinking of these drums, and I'm like, yeah, those drums, right? And they're gonna do this, and then we're gonna, compress it this way. And he's like, yeah. So it's so beautiful, and so I wish I collaborated with him earlier. Like it's so instinctual, the process. Like it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it.
I don't know if many people know, but you're part of the, I want to say, African dance ensemble, Sangea
African Performance Group. Yeah.
I was with you when you joined.
Yes.
And was it like, it took you 4 months to learn the drums? Or you were just like, how many, like it didn't take you long and you were just.
It did not take me long.
Like you just picked it up.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Yeah.
So my question is, like, how do you feel like Sangea, is it Sangea or Sangea? Sangea has kind of like enriched your musical journey. And how do you bring that experience that you have working with them and performing with them into like your life as a musician?
It's made me want to include more like live instrumentation in my music. So actually when we did Greasy, my brother actually solos on that song, like some like good like African drumming on that song. So he produced it, but then also had some live instrumentation on there. So that's the extent to which that influences my music. Also, I love that I'm involved in my culture, being a part of that group. And because we meet weekly too, it just keeps me sharp all the time. Like I'm listening to music. I am, we'll be in practice and I'm like, I have my phone to the side because someone would play something really, really good. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to produce that. That sounds really good. So yeah, that's the extent to which it aids my music.
So when you're like collaborating or in the creative process with somebody, when you're collaborating with whether it's artists, producers, or writers, what is like your must-have vibe in the studio? Like, what are you looking for, like a specific energy or looking to be inspired? What makes you say, yes, like we can work together?
I think people who want to see a song completed. I think artists, we have a bad habit of sitting on music, and I want the people that I'm collaborating to be as invested just to be invested. I'm not even gonna say as invested as I am, because like I said, it's an artist thing, and I'm like that too. We just sit on music. And this in the past year or so, I've been changing that. I've been releasing music like pretty consistently and just not holding on to stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to get into community. Like, how important has community been for you? Whether it's family, friends, colleagues, friendships, relationship. Like, how has that support you've received impacted your career and like kind of artistic journey?
I feel like historically I've tried to pursue community outside of my family, and then through like friends and even like the wider community. But over time, I've realized like family is really important. And when it comes to my friends too, my friends are basically family to me, but you know, I need friends that are genuine and friends that want to grow. I get tired easily when I'm around people who don't have a sense of like they want something more than where they're at. Like there's something uninspiring about that. So for me, like family and friendships are like super important and like just keeping me grounded. And like I'm the kind of person, if you came to me and you're like, hey, so recently like I bought a home actually, it costs like $3 million. I'm like, I literally get excited because I want people to show me the possibilities of like what there is, you know, to life. So that's why I keep those people close to me.
Okay. Next question is, so recently in the industry, there's been a lot of talk and allegations against hip hop artists and the rap scene. So how do you maintain your authenticity with everything kind of going on?
Maintain your authenticity. Interesting. Could you break that down?
Like, in a world where like people may have a perception about hip hop and rappers, and then with all the allegations going on, like how do you kind of stay true to who you are?
Yes.
In like those kind of spaces where people may already have a perception before you even
nice.
He's Selassie Drah, he's a rapper. Oh, okay, like, you know?
Yeah. I try not to let what I do in music and the music industry be dictated by like what is going on. You know what I mean? Like even when I'm invested in an artist, I try to be invested in their music and not try to copy what they're doing, because at the end of the day, like we don't always know these people, right? So I try to make sure that I'm doing the same, where I'm not aligning myself with certain people, certain trends, certain industry standards, which there's a lot of industry standards that, you know, you can't just like live your life by, because you're going to be in big trouble. Like the music industry is like pretty toxic if people don't want to talk about it. Like it can be a toxic place, and there's a lot of things that need to change. And you would be surprised at things that are standard, that if you actually, you know, start to make those your own standards, like you will be in big trouble. Like just as a person for yourself and even with other people. So yeah, I try to live by my own rules for sure.
Okay, so you've been compared a lot to Jay-Z. And when I was listening, I was like, yeah, so how does like that compliment feel? Like how do you feel when you constantly hear that from people?
When I was a little younger, I used to be so like bothered about it, because it's hip hop. I have to be unique. I have to have my own voice. Like if you tell me I sound like someone, oh boy, like that's a problem. That's not good. Until I realized, oh, it's not the music. It's your literal voice. Because one time I don't know where we were, but I just laughed. I just chuckled. And then the person next to me turned, he's like, dude, you sound like Jay-Z. And I'm like, off my laugh, I sound like Jay-Z. I was like, okay, I really can't control this. Yeah. So that's what they mean. So once I started to get that, I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. They're not saying you're copying Jay-Z style. They mean like your literal timbre, like the tone of your voice and everything just sounds like Jay-Z. Okay. Yeah.
If you were like to close your eyes or to delve into like a deep thought right now, and maybe you transported yourself to like somewhere in the world, maybe it's a favorite place, or maybe it's like a world that you create yourself. Can you describe like your five senses? So what do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? And what do you taste in that moment?
That's a tough one.
So we can start off with, what do you see?
I see a cloud and I see a bird. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you hear?
Here, nothing. Just silence.
Just silence?
Yeah. Silence.
And what do you smell?
Like fresh winter. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you know, when it's like freezing, but it's so fresh, partly because there's not people outside. And yeah. Like COVID, when everyone had to be indoors.
Not COVID.
Yeah, like, everything was just fresh. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and what do you feel?
What do I feel? Free. Okay. Just like chill, super relaxed, not afraid to be floating in the clouds. Yeah.
In winter. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that. And what do you taste in that moment?
What do I taste? Ice.
Ice. Okay.
Yeah. Water.
Okay. And so your music reflects a strong connection to Edmonton. I was listening to one of your tracks. I don't remember which one it was, but you like 780. Like you really give a shout out to the city. How do you feel like Edmonton has played a role in shaping you and your music?
It became my home. Like once I left Ghana, like this became my second home. And that's just me trying to embrace it and trying to be more connected with who I am. You know what I mean?
Okay. So I was listening to your song, Gotta Wonder. And one of the lyrics you said, and I gotta wonder if I was enough for you. Can you take us behind like the scenes or the process? Like what were you thinking when you were writing that?
So that song is it's really about growth. And it's not like I'm beating myself up like, oh, like I was so crappy as a person and I was never good for you and I'm so sorry. No, it's more like, now that we're not together, I wasn't a crappy person, but maybe this is how I could have been a better person.
So self-awareness.
Self-realization. Yeah, self-realization. It's like not something that like the other person has complained about. It's just me coming to a realization. Oh, like you thought you knew. You don't know this.
Yeah.
And then, just wanted to share that with another.
Okay. All right.
Is that vague or like?
No, it's not vague.
Makes sense?
No,
okay.
It makes sense. It makes sense. No, it I think you clarified what you were saying. Okay, so next up, you finally get to ask your question.
Yay!
Do you get to, wild card? What do you get to ask me?
Okay.
Ooh, I don't even know what you're gonna ask me.
Do I get just one or do I get a couple questions?
Let's give you two.
Two? Ooh, okay. So you seem to value travel a lot.
Yes. Always ready to fly.
It's really inspiring to see, to be honest.
Okay.
I talked to a mutual friend. He was like, "Oh, did you know like she went to Senegal and
this is why I love traveling, because nobody knows where I am."
And he was telling me about, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And we actually started talking about the importance of traveling and stuff. So, like I said, it's really inspiring to see. How do you decide what your next destination is going to be? And like, have you decided that? Already? How do you decide where you're going to go next?
For Senegal and Gambia, I've been wanting to go for a long time. Like probably since like 2016, 2017, I wrote tweets about it. I spoke about it. Like it's really something I've been wanting to do and go for so long. I've been in love with the culture. I've been like, I have a Gambian auntie. I've been involved with the culture. I love the food. So that was like, it was just like, I really wanted to go to another part of the continent. For how I figure out where next to travel, I think it's just the mood and feeling. Like, what do I want to, like, I curate my outfits based on where I'm going.
Right.
So, like, whatever I feel like, I'm feeling like I want to be at this continent, or I'm feeling like I need to be at this certain place. Like, it's just very much dependent on mood. Sun is a real big factor. Because as much as we get sun here, it's not the same as, like, being on a beach somewhere across the world. And also, I love the feeling of going somewhere where there's sand. Love sand in my feet. And when I see palm trees, I am like, relaxed. So like, I'm thinking, where are the palm trees at? How can I get there?
Yeah. So what's your, I'm going to cheat a little bit and still consider this the same question. What's your next travel destination? Or your dream destination if you don't have a next travel destination?
Okay, there's a few. So because like if I say this, somebody will be like, she's going there next. And I like to shock people, so you'll never know. I would say I really want to Colombia, Panama.
Interesting.
Haiti and Honduras. Yes.
Okay.
Those are like where I'm looking at. Like when I look at pictures of Haiti, like as much as there's perceptions about it, like it is a beautiful island. Like people don't look at Haiti a lot, and I understand like, political situation and all, but it is a beautiful country. I love Haitian food. So like I know if I go there, I'll be eating, I'll be fine. So that's a little bit closer than going all the way to the continent. Continent-wise, I've been really wanting to go to South Africa, Kenya, and Morocco. But there might be a wild card. Maybe I'll go to a different country that people aren't really looking at, and then I just go out there. So.
Okay. Nice. This one is a music-related question. Lebene, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. I had 9 questions for you.
Okay, let's just do the second one.
If we had more time, I would have gone through all these questions.
I believe you.
What is that one thing that turns you from a casual listener to a fan of an artist?
I was talking to my sister about this like a few days ago. She loves to listen to just singles. Like, I like the song. I am an album person.
Okay.
Like I need to listen from A to Z consistently, especially when I'm like working. I love to just like look at a body of work and like see what it's saying from A to Z. Like how does it make me feel? What are the lyrics? Like I really feel drawn and connected to it in that way. So definitely like body of work. What makes me stick and stay? I think it's like a lot of it is messaging. I think that's why I listen to Ashake. Like as much as I don't understand Yoruba, from what I get and understand, you're like, oh, okay. Like, but then sometimes you just need a good beat like Chaley Poppy. Like maybe he's not saying anything, but like you're still like, oh, this is a vibe. So I think it just depends on mood. Yeah. So sometimes I feel like, okay, I want to be listening to this. I want to be listening to that.
Yeah. So when you say albums, you mean like they need to have at least one album that you can play through, or you think they should be consistent with a couple albums?
It's not that they have to have, because there's some people like, I might have loved this album, but maybe I wasn't feeling that. But like, they don't have to always have an album. I might like a single, but I really love albums more.
Right.
Albums are like very much what I really enjoy.
Nice.
But like, let's say somebody like Eric Bellinger, like I can listen to each of his bodies of work.
Right.
Like I can listen to, I know all the albums from beginning to end.
Wow.
And because he's a songwriter, like I feel like there's something sentimental about his music and his sound. So because back in the day, I used to like write music, which hopefully in the future we get back into.
This is news to me.
New thing.
What?
Yeah. So I used to actually write music. So I feel like when I used to write music when I was younger, I would always like look at like how was the structure, how's the lyrics, and like things like that.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I learned something.
Yes. Okay, so next up, I know I didn't tell you this before, but I just want you to give me a little jingle, a little freestyle for myself. It could be like, chop it up, something small.
I wish I came ready.
On the spot, spontaneous.
On the spot. Oh my goodness. Oh. Me and Lebene in the interview, we a certified crew. Trying to cross eyes, something I wouldn't do. I'm like you, but maybe times 2.
Okay, we'll go with that. Maybe like editing, we'll make it a little something.
We'll polish it up. We'll polish it up.
All right. So where can the people find you?
SelassieDrah.com is my website. When you go there, it's usually, the song that I'm promoting at the time, or like what shows I have. Instagram, Selassie Drah, Facebook, Facebook, I had a page and some stuff happened. So like I lost the page. Long story short, I got a new page. You're going to see it. It's got like this many followers. So if you see that page, follow it.
Okay.
X, TikTok, everything is just Selassie Drah. Yeah, got lots of music. Sure.
All right, sounds good. So it's been a pleasure getting to know you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to Chop It Up with Lebene. So we chopped it up small.
Hey.
So thank you so much for watching, and watch out for our next episode where we come with another person we're going to delve into their story and be inspired by them. Have a great rest of the day or evening wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Peace.